Well, here we are, already the end of June 2022. We made it. Well, I made it so far. I've got a bit of the acro mills going up here. It's starting to look pretty decent. And the plan is first half of July, going into next week, I will be back in Iowa. I'd like to grab as many as I can fit in my car. I think, what do I have still? 12 there maybe? And really fill this wall out. So if I bring back everything that I've got in storage, I think that's going to fill up the entire horseshoe. And then I'll really have this work area pretty much filled out how I had envisioned. The next step here, I'd like to get a little bit more lighting going. Currently it's just the ceiling light, which has a little bit, but when I'm doing camera work, and this is for an upcoming video, it does seem like it's a little bit darker, especially if it's in the evening after the sun's gone down. So I think getting some lighting in here, similar to the Iowa workshop where that had some fluorescence, and those were really close to the sorted area, and it just seemed like that whole setup was a little bit better in the lighting department. So that will kind of be ongoing through July, I want to say. I haven't fully decided if I want to go with fluorescent or some kind of rope light or just get more lamps like that guy. But what I am kind of envisioning is some kind of system that builds off of the framework that I've already got started. There's some extra lumber up here that I haven't used yet, and then maybe utilize the triangular braces and go up behind those and put a bridge across, and then that would be a location to mount lights. That's somewhat in conflict with the other idea I had, where the top of this 2x4 would be the surface of a shelf, and then that would be a really cool spot for the modular lineup. So I might be able to do both ideas. I'd probably have to take the lighting up a little bit higher if I left room for a shelf there. But some kind of display system in this location I think would provide a really cool backdrop, especially if I'm going to be filming here more, which so far has worked pretty good. Some of the recent videos I've been in that chair, and then I have this table as the surface. So this whole thing's moving along little by little. These three acro mills in the middle here, Amazon had them reduced. So that doesn't happen too often, but the link to this when they're on sale kind of makes its way around. Keep an eye on the Bricksar channel, because he will link it if it's still going up, and other places. It's just kind of a matter of the right timing. And in fact, these guys were on sale for close to a week, I want to say. So I was able to pick up 3 more. And this is the first set where I've done the half and half. So the lower drawers are the large ones, and then it's got the smaller drawers on the upper half. I think I'll be doing enough sorting and breakdown to utilize that. I wasn't sure how much I would be using the smaller drawer units since last year is when I actually got the first one. And up to that point, everything I've had has been the 24 drawer unit. I kind of got into routine with those. But as I continue to get the pick and build pieces, those are a good candidate for having a smaller drawer because they don't take up as much. I want to leave them, sorted out, because it's already sorted by part type and color, and I usually have a higher quantity of this lot than I would otherwise, just getting them from the Lego store. So that I foresee continuing, and that will be a good use of those smaller drawers, as well as if I start sorting other lots into smaller groups. Other stuff that I've been sorting here would be tiles. So I do have a different system for tiles in Iowa. I'll probably bring that and then start switching over. But this did help free up some of my other storage bins, and I've been able to work a little bit with some of the other stuff coming in. The other thing I'm going to try to get on the schedule for this trip is some washing, because I have fallen behind in my washing process. I briefly mentioned it in one of the videos that the water here has a little bit more, I don't know, just dissolved matter in it, and then when that evaporates off the clean pieces, it leaves a residue. So there was an extra step I was having to do here in Illinois with this water that has kind of deterred me from doing the regular washing that I do when I get lots in. And if I bring some of that with me back to Iowa and do my washing cycle there, I won't have to get slowed down with the extra step, and then I might be able to start in on some of the backlog of sorting. So a couple things in going in both directions. I want to bring some back to clean, and then I want to bring some when I return here to Illinois. More specifically, that'll be the priority, is to get some more acro mills here and really start bringing in more of the collection and jump back into some projects like Green Grocer. The only piece set aside so far is a single skeleton leg. But as we saw in the bricks and minifigs video a couple days ago, and as you will see in this video coming up soon, there are several parts that I've been able to locate and start getting those designated for Green Grocer. Not necessarily bagged up yet, but kind of getting those on hand for the next step. Okay, how about some other topics from the web? Looking at a couple things on Brickset here, scooting through Rebrickable, and then onto our YouTube analytics for the month. Let's talk about LegoCon. LegoCon 2022. This was going on the weekend that I was in Kentucky, so I was not around to actually watch it. But being at a Lego store while it was ongoing, actually saw some of these sets as they were announced. But Brickset has a pretty nice summary of kind of what was released, with direct links to their set pages and the related images. But we've got the 90th anniversary sets, so there were two big ones here. The Castle and the Galaxy Explorer were the main sets of interest. So yeah, both of these rumored. I think the Castle maybe more so than the Explorer, just based on things that I had heard. But yeah, both of them look great. Not personally convinced I need to pick either one up at the moment. I've talked before about cutting back on buying sets themselves and preferring bulk at this stage. But the Castle is tempting, and a bunch of the other Star Wars sets that were announced, I think, are also welcomed by Star Wars collectors. And there's just a whole bunch of discussion. I'm going to leave that in. You guys get to hear my stuttering today. Of course, Brickset here and other places around concerning price points, and can't make everyone happy with set design all the time either, but definitely worth looking at the set images, in my opinion, and definitely doing justice to the Castle and Classic Space themes for the 90th anniversary. So yeah, first link down there is this summary, and you can jump straight to the items of interest. Among the announcements were minifigs Series 23. Some very interesting looking characters here. I think most of these minifigs are centered around the costume theme, like sub theme of minifigs, and there's also some holiday theme mixed in, as this will be released later in the year, closer to the end of the year. But interesting minifigs worth looking through. I do like the magenta castle logo is coming back from the original yellow castle, kind of making the cameo there, and other well-detailed minifigs in Series 23. Now, related to this series of minifigs, it appears that we will also be looking at the switch to the new packaging style, which will be a box. So we kind of got a taste of this with the video series of minifigs, and the initiative there to switch from the foil bags to a cardboard base packaging. The main downside here, of course, is that you will no longer be able to feel out for certain minifigs, which I have done for the most part. If I'm trying to get a specific fig from a series, that's kind of been the main thing. I mean, to the point where a lot of people actually discuss the best strategy for hunting down a specific fig without actually opening the packaging. And back when it was in the foil bags, that was doable. I mean, it took a little bit of practice, but in the past have been able to find specific characters that I wanted to grab. So with Series 23, it looks like that will be changing over. The only suggestion that I've seen that has a chance of actually determining different minifigs without opening the packaging or damaging it is to weigh the package. You need a pretty sensitive scale, getting down into tenths, hundredths of an ounce maybe. But depending on different items within the packaging, you might be able to differentiate or at least narrow the range into just a given few minifigs. Yeah. We'll see if anyone uses that strategy, if that's successful at all, but that's really the only thing I've seen, because to the best of our knowledge, there's really nothing else on the external packaging to give you any indication of what's inside. Other things that have been observed in the past is if you have a case of the entire series and you can be sure that it has not been opened and rearranged. I think before it has been observed that certain minifigs are always in the same location within a case. Of course, the downside to that is as soon as it's opened and people start going through it, that rearranges the pattern. So that's not really a given. And the main thing here is just for people that are only looking for a specific character out of a set, because there are collectors that are looking to get the entire run of minifigs, and this doesn't necessarily affect that as much. There's still channels where you can go to get either one copy or two copies of the entire run, and then you can sell off the excess. But for a lot of people that are just interested in a select subset of the characters in any given series, this might put a damper on minifig collecting. Again, lots of discussion here on Brickset. That's usually where I read the community and the feedback. Doesn't mean that's the only ideas that are out there, but a significant portion of the community is here online. So if you want to be involved in the conversation, I would recommend Brickset. Just try to keep it civil. Another thing that I wanted to mention was the introduction of Icons branding. Icons is not going to be a separate theme, as far as I can tell. It just seems like it's going to be a banner that some of the other themes get grouped under, themes that have maybe been feeling a little bit homeless. Creator Expert was kind of the category of upper level A-full sets. So our modular line, some of the upper level creator sets with higher part counts and age brackets. For a while those were going into the Creator Expert theme, and that kind of got discontinued. So when that was phased out, the 18 plus banner got introduced, and that was also not as well received. So now it looks like LEGO's going to have a run at using a new banner called Icons and just further try to group things. But it's not a theme in and of itself. It's kind of a like a category. Worth noting, not really sure what else is going on there, but keep an eye out for the Icons theme. Okay, Rebrickable, another set that was announced, not necessarily at LegoCon, but has been spotted, is the Inside Tour exclusive for this year. I believe the past 2 years we have not seen any Inside Tours because they were not hosted, but it looks like that is being resumed, and the first round of Inside Tourists, if you can call them that, has gone through the process, and the first 100 of these sets have been handed out to the attendees. So we've got a nice set image here. Here's another one that was published on Instagram, I believe, by the set creator. And it is kind of the internal working of the sorting and molding section of a Lego factory. So you've got this little automated scooter machine that runs around and moves the boxes of new Lego bricks from the machine to the storage facilities, and that's what's been recreated here in Lego form. Yeah, it's an interesting little set. Again, very exclusive. The inside tour itself is pretty limited, so I think there's a run of 100 people that go through in the first half of the year, and then there's another run of 100, and so good estimate would be there's about 200 of these sets in production. They do get a numbering scheme, so this would be like set 1 out of 200. Actually, it'd be 1 out of 100 for the first run, and then the second run later in the year it would do that again. So it also gets signed by the set designer, and I mean, I don't think you would want to go on the inside tour just to get this set, but it is one of the perks, and it's really interesting to see what they come up with from year to year. Sometimes there are very exclusive parts that are produced for these sets, and sometimes they're kind of just a repackaging of a different existing set. But they haven't done that for a while. That was kind of earlier in the tours several years ago. I think recent tours have all been original designs, not really something that's out there for the mainstream Lego base, but something special for the people that do go on these tours. So we have an image here. This is on Rebrickable. Saw that in the new image feed. And before I get to the analytics, something I kind of am going to switch gears. Instead of doing the vertical Lego activity board, I might get back to that at the end of the year, but I wanted to switch it up a little bit and do a segment called Parts of Interest. So starting kind of small here, there's only 4 that I've rounded up for today, but this is kind of where I want to discuss parts that are either new, so kind of a new mold design, or a reviving of a retired part. That would be a good place to talk about it here. Or if I come across something in my hunting and research of Lego history, this would be a good place for that as well. But for today, just have 4 parts on the docket here. One of the R.R. Slugger videos about time cruisers kind of reminded me of the fact that one of the sets actually uses this Belleville bathtub as the kind of the chassis for one of the vehicles, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool and funny. And now I want to see if I can get a hold of one of these bathtubs. So it's a part of interest. It is not something that I'm going to go out and get on Bricklink right now because I don't need it right now. It's just going to be on the wanted list, and if it just so happens to be in a store that I'm using to round up parts for, say, a green grocer or a different project, and the price is right, I will see if I can pick it up. But yeah, what is this, 6x10 bathtub? Oh, 6x12, yeah. Kind of a bigger piece, but it was designed for the Belleville scale, which is larger than minifig scale. The second one here, familiar face, R4216 with the vertical groove. Green grocer, very crucial to that set and something that I've been working on rounding up. So a part of interest for this month. Next one is the 4429 flask, so kind of a larger jug. Again, this is either a Scala or Belleville part that was introduced for one of those themes. Actually, maybe it's Fabuland because it dates back to '84, but definitely an interesting part. It does still work at minifig scale. It can be kind of a larger jug, and we've got, how many different colors did this guy have? I'll just jump to the parts page real quick. We had the dark pink, light blue, green, transparent red, and then actually solid red. So that'd probably be the Fabuland color. But yeah, a nice range of the transparents in this part, and something that I'd like to pick up at some point. Again, it's going to be on the Bricklink wish list and not necessarily a priority unless I decide that I'd like to use it in a project. The last part for today is something that I've actually kept an eye out for the past several years, at least 4 years, and have never really come across the black classic window in bulk. I find the red ones all the time. White and yellow are somewhat less popular than the red, but they're also, you know, around. And then even rarer than white and yellow is blue, but I have never come across a black window in the wild. It's not as abundant, I guess. And this would be a nice part to have for a steam train build, which is something that I'd like to do this year yet. And yeah, might end up on the Bricklink order at some point. So there's 4 parts of interest for today. The plan is to have this list expanded every month and cover new parts as they get added, and not necessarily just new or just old, but a range of different things as I come across them. Okay, that is about all I had to cover that is not related to analytics, so let's start looking at that here. Yeah, another solid month. Nothing super notable, no major spikes, but once again, not necessarily dropping off at all either, really just holding steady at this point, which actually the first half of the month, videos were not being released very often. And as we go into July, maybe not immediately in July, but the rest of the summer and into the fall, I'd like to get that production back up again, as I will have some of the collection returned, hopefully. But June, about 17,000 views, which is actually down. So YouTube Analytics is putting in this little comparison line down here, which is nice and handy. We can see that the views is down about 11% compared to last month. Watch hours at 743 is actually down by about 25%. And most of this is the drop off because of the transparent neon orange video that went out last month, and that saw a spike. So this isn't necessarily down from our regular, it was more so that last month was up, and now we're kind of back to our baseline. Subscriptions were added, 63 subscribers. Hey guys, welcome aboard. Thanks for joining us. Our new public subscribers will be going through the carousel here at the end of the video, so keep an eye out for that. Again, a drop because last month was up, not necessarily because we're dropping off our regular pace. And then the revenue this month coming in a little lower at $24, but still holding steady. Just a mix of different videos getting ads and some videos not. So that's the month of June. Another solid month. Total subscribers here, we're approaching the 2,300 mark. So slow and steady growth. And the plan is to keep it up. There's more stuff coming. All right, that's all I got. See you guys in July.